Right now, almost half the protein consumed by 8 billion people exists only because of synthetic chemical fertilizers. This schematic breaks down the NPK triad: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These three elements serve as the mandatory chemical building blocks required for modern crop growth. While we tend to think of farming as a localized process, sourcing these specific nutrients requires supply chains that stretch thousands of miles across the globe. The global fertilizer market operates as a highly consolidated geopolitical oligopoly, where a very small group of sovereign nations controls the volume and pricing of the world's harvest. Over the last few years, the handful of nations controlling these inputs initiated strict trade quotas, sweeping export bans, and military conflicts. By cutting off access to these basic chemical components, these nations transformed the foundational elements of the global food supply into a weapon of war. Geopolitical leverage over these nutrients stems from the inflexible physical realities of how they are sourced. Phosphorus and potassium are mined commodities, locked in highly concentrated geological deposits found primarily in China, Russia, Belarus, and Morocco. Nitrogen, by contrast, is pulled from the atmosphere. That synthesis process requires massive amounts of natural gas to create ammonia. This reliance on hydrocarbons tethers global nitrogen production directly to volatile energy markets and vital shipping choke points, like the Strait of Hormuz. The physical inputs required to sustain life are geographically held hostage by some of the most volatile energy and political choke points on Earth. In early 2022, the invasion of Ukraine severed established trade routes, instantly disrupting 40% of the world's potassium exports, originating from Russia and Belarus. Concurrently, natural gas price spikes crippled nitrogen production across Europe, while China implemented strict export bans to prioritize its domestic phosphorus supply. This chart tracks the resulting market panic, showing the violent upward trajectory of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium costs, peaking in mid-2022. Because international fertilizer transactions are denominated in US dollars, developing nations experienced a dollar double whammy. They faced skyrocketing base prices at the exact moment their local currencies lost value. Squeezed by these costs, farmers across the global south drastically reduced their fertilizer application. The result was lower crop yields and millions of people pushed toward poverty. The 2022 crisis proved a harsh economic formula. Restricting a nation's access to fertilizer directly reduces its caloric intake and threatens its immediate survival. Importing nations have reclassified crop nutrients as vital national security assets. Western governments are deploying legislative countermeasures to break the Eurasian oligopoly, actively fast-tracking domestic mining operations and securing supply chain logistics. The U.S. Geological Survey officially added phosphate and potash to its critical minerals list, placing them alongside materials like lithium and uranium. Securing the food supply now requires the aggressive statecraft and resource defense, historically reserved for energy and military assets. Agricultural strategists are working to decouple the sector from volatile fossil fuel markets and concentrated mines. One major pathway is green ammonia, a process that synthesizes nitrogen using renewable electricity instead of natural gas. On the biological front, researchers are developing biofertilizers, deploying specialized microbes directly into the soil to fix nitrogen without synthetic inputs. Simultaneously, AI and precision farming tools are being integrated into agricultural equipment to prevent overapplication, reducing the overall tonnage of chemical inputs required per acre. Long-term stability now hinges on who controls the complex chemistry required to make land produce.